Now, Flores on your left, David Thomas is on your right. And we will be underway here in round number 2 momentarily. Keep in mind, rounds number 3 and 4, they'll be standard. Matthias Hunt and Ryan Overturf, they'll be up here in the booth with their bingo cards, getting ready to bring you some more action. But now, David Thomas is going to start things off with a land, and Michael Flores will do the same. He's got an irrigated farmland. We're going to go over to Dave Thomas, the Texas native who's made the trip out here. He'll play an island, pass that turn back. I think both players might be realizing now that we are in a mirror. And have they tested the mirror? We'll find out soon enough, as the Plains is the play there for Flores. Thomas with the Plains, he'll pass the turn back. Mike is going to cycle a cast out. Doesn't do a ton in the mirror, so he'll cycle there.
I actually think game 1 it does nothing.
Well, Thomas does have Search for Escanta.
Okay, that is
so, and that's a good card. So
Flores, I believe, also on 2 copies.
Okay. An island there for Mike. And Dave's going to do a little cycling. He'll cycle his own cast out, as these players are very well aware that they're in the mirror now. Irrigated farmland there for David Thomas, and now Flores is going to cycle a cast out yet again. So Michael draw, scan through the hand, he'll be untapping. We'll go to his 4th turn here. He's picked up the Plains. Now, for the first handful of turns here, Patrick, and it's pretty obvious, just hit your land drops, right?
That's the goal, and you have a lot of dead weight to cycle too, so.
That's kind of step 1. That's kind of the easy part. Now, Thomas has found a copy of Approach. But Mike has found, I think, maybe the more important card here in Hieroglyphic Illumination. So he's found one of his draw 2s. Now, both players are playing copies of draw 2s. Mike has 4 copies of Hieroglyphic Illumination. Dave is going to actually play a copy of Pool from Tomorrow, a card that we actually haven't seen a ton of upon its release.
So I think this card is a killer of mid-range decks. I think the problem with it right now is most of the mid-range decks are siding into a bunch of negates.
Yes.
But there are worlds where this card is one of the best things going on.
Sphinx's Revelation, it is not.
Right.
Be clear about that, but it is still a good card, a little bit underrepresented. As it looks like Mike has a Field of Ruin there. He'll discard a Fumigate, doesn't do anything in this matchup. But we head back over to David Thomas, he'll draw a card. Another irrigated farmland. Flores will just draw, no end of turn effects. Both players just focusing on hitting their land drops for now. Now there is the card that you feel matters.
Yes.
In Ipnu Rivulet, a card that we will take a look at here in just a moment. As Thomas is going to play a Glimmer of Genius. He'll get some energy, of course. So this desert taps for a colorless. Okay, who cares? Pay a life, tap for a blue. Again, who really cares? Life total not really under duress. But 1 in a blue, sacrifice a desert. Target player puts the top 4 cards of his or her library in his or her graveyard. And you're thinking that's going to come down to milling, huh?
Well, I don't know. How else does the game end? You can resolve Approach, maybe, against whatever this handful of counter spells.
Yeah.
Alternatively, someone can get decked. And this gives Flores a huge edge if the game comes down to decking.
Now here's what's tough for Thomas. Thomas does not have Ipnu Rivulets, of his own, as he does play a copy of Approach.
Flores tagged it with a sensor.
Yes, he did. And now Flores is going to play a Glimmer of Genius of his own, so he'll scry too. He'll get some energy as well. Yeah, you're feeling as though resolving Approaches is going to be tough.
Yes, not impossible.
Yeah.
But also keep in mind that Flores, with those Rivulets, also has a lot of agency over whether or not Thomas draws the Approach.
That's correct.
Because he can also mill it out if it's about to be drawn.
Mm-hmm. So Flores will draw a card for the turn. And he'll play a Plains. Take a little look here at David Thomas's graveyard. And Mike does have an Approach of his own in hand.
If he's willing to tap out here, I mean, it puts Thomas under some amount of pressure to do something. Coast is clear.
Travis, do you know the rules of Approach? Do you have to count the second one or the first one? So nothing here from Flores. We'll head back over to David Thomas. An island there for Dave. And now there's a search for Escanta. I'm curious to see if the powerful enchantment does resolve.
Yeah.
So approach is something we're going to take a look at here, which is if Approach of the Second Sun was cast from your hand and you've cast another spell named Approach of the Second Sun this game, you win the game. Otherwise, put Approach of the Second Sun into its owner's library, 7 from the top, and you gain 7 life. So if the first approach was countered,
second one is still lethal.
correct, if it resolves.
Right.
If it resolves. Okay. That's fun. Let's hear Search from Escanta, trigger. Now, the powerful enchantment we can take a look at here. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may put that card in your graveyard. Then, if you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, you get to transform it into a very powerful land. It's very good in this deck, though a card that players don't feel like they can play 4 copies of.
Yeah, it's legendary, and
Yeah.
that's problematic.
Looks like we have another Glimmer of Genius here for Thomas. He's going to go up to 4 energy. He split the difference on the scry. Now he's untapping. He'll be drawing here in just a moment with Search.
It's also not necessarily the best against the absolute fastest speed down decks of the format either, but it does allow for something of a Bitter Blossom play pattern of do this and then just trade 1 for 1 a bunch and beat you with the leftovers.
Now, I think Thomas put the card with Search of Escanta on the bottom of his deck instead of milling it. So I think he needs to fix that, because milling is certainly important here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they will take a look at that and see if they can, they can see if they can fix that, fix this this game state. A bit of a mistake there. We do have Table Spotter and Judge on hand, so we'll get working there. Didn't expect to see an approach mirror this early in the day, my friend.
You know, it's not like these decks are that long on counterspells either.
No, they're really not. Taking a look at Thomas's deck list, he's got 4 Censors, 4 Supreme Wills, 2 Disallow.
And Flores' list here, I think, looks like just 4 copies of Supreme Will and Censors. So I guess it's actually not that hard for Thomas to set up a spot where he can just push through another copy of Approach, particularly if he's able to flip Search for Escanta and just set up with a bunch of counterspells.
So it looks like Thomas is given a warning here, and now we're going to head back over to Flores, who will, I think, accidentally reveal the second
Perfect.
card. The second card of his deck. So
that's great.
So perhaps we maybe see a shuffle here in just a moment. Not sure.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right, here's Search for Escanta. All right, Dave will keep that one. Play Plains, pass the turn back. All right, Flores is going to cycle a cast out. Doesn't actually care about the Search for Escanta. Notable. Glacial Fortress the land. Search. Here for Thomas. He'll keep that card. He'll just play a Plains and pass the turn back. Just so you do know, the transform on Search for Escanta, we'll take a look on that card. You may transform Search for Escanta. You don't have to. It's important to note. Dave Thomas clearly wants that manipulation that his enchantment is providing. That card's going to go to the graveyard and cast out. Again, doesn't have to transform if he doesn't want to.
Yeah, there's not like a big rush on Thomas's end here to do something with the Search. And it can also just be blown up via Field of Fruit. So.
I believe Flores is playing a Perilous Voyage.
Yeah, you got one.
Yeah. To bounce the Search for Escanta? Sure. Nice little one of in Mike's bag of tricks there.
Yeah, sure. What I mean.
Yeah. And Flores also going to cycle a Censor. He'll untap. He'll draw a card. Play Glacial Fortress. What's next here for Mike? Oh, Search of Escanta of his own. Sure, sure. We'll go back over to Thomas.
Thomas with 2 copies of Field of Ruin in his list as well.
Now Mike will watch as David plays his Search for Wisconsin again. There'll be a trigger here for Flores. Search. Take a look at the top card. Mike gonna do a little bit of counting here. Looks like he's going to transform. Okie dokie.
Those cards look cool. They look cool.
Yeah.
They did a nice job with those.
You see Escanta, the Sunken Ruin, taps for a blue. Then you can tap 2 in a blue and tap it. Look at the top 4 cards. Take a non-creature, non-land spell. Add it to the grip. Field of Ruin, however, is going to work itself into the equation. Very powerful card, not only in Standard, but looks like maybe in older formats too.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you aren't under, you know, where Ghost Quarter wins out is just the speed. You do it for 1 mana, or for 0 basically, anytime. Easy to hold up. If the game's not about speed, if you just care about being able to interact with lands at some point over the course of the game, I think Field of Ruin is much more powerful.
So now, Escanta, gone. Problem solved. So where do we go next? Thomas is going to Glimmer. Split the difference. He's certainly looking for something here as Thomas. This is going to go up to 6 energy.
Well, I would not feel comfortable, I think, from Thomas's side in the long game here because of Flores' Rivulets. So I would be just trying to shove through another copy of Approach. Yeah. And with his 2 main deck copies of Disallow, I think he's reasonably well set up to do that, assuming Flores isn't really putting him under any sort of pressure. He's not forcing him to make a move.
Escanta trigger. Thomas will keep that card. He'll play an island. He's got a lot of cards in his hand. He'll discard Settle the Wreckage, because that's a blank one in the mirror. We're going to head back over to Flores.
Yeah, it's interesting. Usually in control mirror matches, you're trying pretty desperately to not discard a hand size. You want to be if you get to the point where you're missing land drops, you just sort of cast whatever you can to prevent that from happening. In this matchup, in this mirror, there's like a comical level of dead weight.
Yes.
That it doesn't even matter. You're like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, discard anything.
20 cards that don't have a text box.
But Thomas is finding plenty of lands here. Flores isn't doing too bad himself. Both players with quite the swath of lands in the battlefield. Flores is going to discard another copy of Settle the Wreckage. Escanta's going to allow Thomas to build his hand the way that he wants to. Settle the Wreckage will go to the graveyard. He's not going to transform his Search for Escanta. Now the thing is, you do have to wonder if he's scared of the fact that Mike does have that Rivulet on the battlefield, and how many copies does he play? Because Mike, he plays 3 copies of the Rivulet.
Yeah.
And there's pretty much no chance that David knows that. So being milled for a handful of cards could be pretty scary stuff. Mike is going to play a Glimmer of Genius here. He's going to get 2 energy. He'll scry 2. But obviously Thomas is building towards something. And I think I'm with you. I'm thinking it's just try to resolve the second approach through a counter war.
Yep.
But as you mentioned, in Flores' deck list, he doesn't really have a lot of counter magic.
No, he's got 4 Supreme Wills and an Essence Scatter. That doesn't help.
Nice.
And his Censors, we're past the point of that working. 1 copy of Commit to Memory.
Okay.
But yeah, he's not. If Thomas is able just to put together some disallows, Flores' deck is not really that well set up to fight that kind of fight.
Got it. Got it.
So we're going to see here. It's going to come down to, can Thomas set that sort of thing up before his deck becomes small enough that Flores is able to mill him out.
Well, he's going to cycle a Censor here. It looks like he's going to look at the top couple of cards via Supreme Will. He's found a card he's happy with. This is, of course, the Impulse half of Supreme Will. The rest of the cards go to the bottom. And now we're untapping as David Thomas, and he's drawing. He will now actually transform Searcher's Kanta into the land. It feels like to me if he's doing that, this is the turn he wants to go.
Probably. I mean, there was no rush for him to do anything, so if he's making a move, that's probably why.
Well, here's your 7 mana, folks. So here's approach. This resolves. It's a game winner. Commit to memory is where Michael Flores is going to start things. And Dave has a disallow. This was the card that you felt would make all the difference.
Yep. This is this fight right here, Flores' build, game 1, is not really that well situated.
And you see that Thomas has got a lot of mana laying around. So now here is Supreme Will, which is essentially mana leak, targeting disallow.
Ooh. Stack of 3 or more spells.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Hold on.
Nice. Go ahead and stamp that.
And just to be clear, I mean, Flores actually put the card on top of it.
He actually built a stack for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem, man. No problem. Player gains 6+ life in a game. Pretty live here.
Yeah.
Pretty live approach resolves. Feeling pretty good about that. Actually, it'll just win. It won't gain life. This is a sham. It's a poorly built bingo board. So Thomas has paid the mana on the Supreme Will.
Oh, watch a standard match without an energy deck. Count that. Censored cycled. Sorry,
I'm that. You're a little behind on the board here.
Yeah, I gotta catch up.
Yeah.
Gotta catch up.
That's okay. So disallow is still on the stack targeting commit while Patrick's cleaning up his bingo board here.
Apologies to all of you watching at home.
Yeah. Now here's looks like a Supreme Will again. Targeting disallow, and Thomas, I'm gonna pay. Yep.
Hard to do this with mana leaks.
Yeah. Well, Thomas is prepared for 3 leaks.
And you know, it actually could come up here that Thomas transformed that search for his Kanta.
Yeah,
he might need the remaining 3 mana.
I do not think this was an accident. Flores is going to cycle irrigated farmland. What comes next?
Essence Scatter.
Yeah, not no, not you.
Settle the wreckage.
Yeah. I'm waiting for you to rattle off a censor. Flores is exploring his options. I'm not feeling great about this. He's going to cycle censor, not going to cast it. And so now approach is going to resolve, and David Thomas is going to win the game and not gain life. Thank you so much, David. As he does win game number 1 here over Michael Flores. The blue-white approach mirror goes to your player on the right. That's disallows, like you mentioned, man.
Yep.
That's what makes the difference.
Big deal there.
We're going to get to the sideboards here between Michael Flores and David Thomas in a moment. That means to settle the wreckage and all the other nonsense is going to come out in just a sec. But first, a couple messages from our sponsors. Big news, everybody. Team Cedric's got another spot on his bingo board. Now, you can find those at Star City Games on the old Twitter. I just retweeted it from my main account. Patrick doesn't retweet things, so that's totally fine. But cast out cycled, yes, please. Lock it in. So we take a look at the sideboards. We're going to start with Michael Flores, who's got 4 Authority of the Councils, 3 Regal Caracal, 3 Treasure Map, 2 Negates, 2 Torrential Gearhulk, and a Awakening Sun's Avatar. I guess a couple cards.
Well, I guess the question is if you want the cats. At a baseline, Treasure Maps, Negate, and Torrential Gearhulk are great here. If you just want to have more threats in the deck, I could see going that road, but I would probably just keep it to the 7.
I'm going to go over to David Thomas, who's got 4 cats of his own, 3 Baral, Chief of Compliance, 3 Authority of the Councils, 3 Negates, and 2 Torrential Gearhulk. Baral, huh?
Baral seems sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of this is going to come down to counter wars where mana is going to be at a premium. The counter and loot is not trivial here either. So yeah, that along with the Negates and the Torrential Gearhulks.
Actually,
maybe the cats, but I would not play it. I would not bring them in.
I actually kind of forgot that Baral is standard legal.
Right.
Because I just think of it in Modern Storm and older formats, but
the 2 text boxes on that card lend themselves a lot more to Eternal formats than to Standard.
Yeah, this is a nice little inclusion. On one side you're going to see Barals, and the other side you're going to see Treasure Maps. I guess we'll find out which of those cards is better in this mirror after sideboard as these players take a look at their openers. We're underway. Flores with an island to Dave Thomas. He has land of his own. Again, you got to remember, to kick things off, it's just about hitting land drops. That's the key. Now, these players do have plenty of cards to cycle, which is important. I mean, it's going to be easier for hitting their land drops as Thomas has another island. We're going to go back over to Flores. He'll play a Field of Ruin. And he's going to play a Treasure Map. You sure that's not Ben Stark in the feature match area?
This is a sweet design.
You like Treasure Map?
Gameplay plus flavor, I think, are both excellent.
Well, it got negated. Now, what it wanted to do is 2-mana artifact. 1, scry 1, put a landmark counter on Treasure Map. But that's not going to happen anymore.
No.
That's not going to happen. Search for Escanta, however, is going to resolve. So that's on the battlefield. Treasure Map, it does a bunch of transforming and treasures and drawing cards and all these other things, but it's not on the battlefield, so it doesn't matter. Search for Escanta is on the battlefield. It does matter, and it helped Dave Thomas win game number 1. Thomas with land number 4. Here's a Glimmer of Genius from Michael Flores.
11 a.m. modern player.
And it looks like Flores is going to have that countered via Censor. I was curious if Thomas actually had some interest in fighting over the card drawing spells. That question got answered. However, Treasure Map is going to resolve now. Censor will be cycled. Does Flores have land number 5? He does. Now Treasure Map's out there. So let's go back and look at the artifact again now. Since it's actually on the battlefield, I want to take a look at it one more time. So, 1 tap, scry 1. Put a landmark counter on Treasure Map. Then if there are 3 or more landmark counters on it, remove 3 counters, transform Treasure Map, and create 3 colorless treasure artifact tokens. With 1, sacrifice this, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, and when it does transform, we'll take a look at the second half a little bit later. But for now, we keep our attention back on the game. 2 energy there from Thomas from his Glimmer. Flores will scry thanks to the Treasure Map.
Get a new die.
Yeah.
We can't see that.
There we go.
There we
go.
go.
You okay?
There we go.
You okay?
I'm good.
All right.
I'm good now. Now I can see what's going on.
Yeah. Baral, Chief of Compliance, is going to resolve. This isn't modern. Doesn't mean Flores is dead right now. Don't see this card in Standard very often, but it's here. Making everything just a little bit cheaper for David Thomas. Thomas's mana right now a little wonky. As here's a Torrential Gearhulk. Yeah, so no. That's getting Essence scattered. Can't let that thing resolve. That thing's huge. 1 mana Essence scattered, by the way.
Yeah, and still in the deck because Thomas knows Torrential Gearhulk is the plan.
Well, he's got him himself. Yeah. So he's got to expect that Mike will have him too. Another Treasure Map here from Flores. David Thomas going to untap. Search for his Escanta trigger means that Thomas will take a look. He's going to mill that top card. He has no interest in transforming his enchantment just yet, though I think he is 1 card short of transforming it. Here comes Brawl in for 1. Oomph.
And he's in the same spot where Field of Ruin just tags it, so not a big rush.
All right, Flores will scry 1 with his new Treasure Map. 2 counters on 1, 1 on the other. And looks like this might be a pull from tomorrow here.
So this is a pull for 4. Remember, it's 1 cheaper because of the Baral.
Correct. And DT will have to discard a card here in just a moment. Going to go back over to Flores now, who's almost ready to start transforming some treasure maps here. Now Search for Escanta is going to transform.
Alexander Costello, the last round of Modern is paired. Please find your seat. Alex Costello to Modern, please.
Thomas might be in a spot here where he says, you know what, if you do want to Field of Ruin my my land, totally fine.
He can draw a card off of it once if he wants to.
There's Escanta, the Sunken Ruin. The big question about this game now is just how much is Treasure Map going to change things, as there is another copy of Search for Escanta. Because now Flores is right on the precipice of transforming one. Field of Ruin's going to go after Escanta, the Sunken Ruin. Dave says that does not resolve just yet.
Because he can disallow the trigger. Stifle your land.
That is nice.
Put it in the graveyard.
That is nice. Now, I'm not sure if that's what he's doing right now or not, but he can do that. He might be casting Glimmer right now. All right, so he'll scry. He's up to 4 energy. And now, okay, it will resolve. But disallow is an option there.
Right. I'd be surprised with Thomas having another copy of Search for Escanta and how important the hard counters are in this matchup. I would have been surprised if he wanted to pick a battle over that, but it is an option.
Oh, dude, someone activated the Scarab God last round. That was Sam Black.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. A little behind here on the bingo board. 1, 2. I got 6 to your 5. Feeling pretty good about this. Feeling pretty good. Pretty good. Uh-oh, Treasure Cove. Treasure Cove is here. All right, so you tap it to add a colorless, or you can sacrifice a treasure to draw a card. Flores does have 3 treasures on the battlefield now. He's going to scry one with his other treasure map.
Noteworthy that these are non-legendary, in contrast to Search.
Very true. Let's sack a treasure, draw a card, shall we? All right, Flores' final land puts that on the battlefield right away. Now we're going to go over to David Thomas. Trigger. He'll transform. Escanta is back. As Torrential Gearhulk is the draw. In for 1.
Rediscovered.
You found it again?
We found it. We lost it briefly.
Yep.
We found
the city again. Nice. Must be a pretty nice city if people are always trying to find it.
And it's getting blown up.
Yeah. Must be some goodies down there. 4 mana. Hieroglyphic Illumination. That's a mouthful. Draw 2 cards. Could have just named it Inspiration. Make my job easier, but it's okay. It's okay. Inspiration never cycled.
No.
Might be too good if it did.
It's interesting. They sometimes release their developer comments, their files, their playtest files for articles. And someone said, I really like Hieroglyphic Illumination because when I don't have enough mana to cast it, then I can just cycle it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I believe that's true of all cycling cards.
Yeah.
I don't know why this one feels particularly good, but whatever.
Here's a torrential.
I'm not gonna. If you enjoy it, that's fine. It just struck me as a weird,
weird line to draw, perhaps.
Weird. Yeah, that's true of. It's true of all of them.
Yes. Here's Torrential Gearhulk.
Enjoy playing with Desert Ceradon because when I cannot cast it, I have the option to cycle it.
Yeah. Single red. Say this Gearhawk's going to resolve. We saw David Thomas Essence Scatter Michael's. Not sure if Michael will do the same to David's.
I enjoy playing with Hundrug.
Yes.
Because when I cannot cast it, I can cycle it.
You're really just dialing up Hundrug here on the broadcast?
Yeah.
Is that your go-to cycler from Invasion Block, or not Invasion Block?
Onslaught.
Onslaught Block? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
2 good deals.
I'm gonna go with no. I'm gonna go with no good deals.
It's absurd. It's absurd that like Desert Ceradon is a card you cut from your draft decks.
Yeah.
And this was a thing.
Did this make your decks a lot?
No, it was pretty rare.
Okay.
It was pretty rare.
Okay. 2 good deals, huh?
It's a beast too.
I get it.
With lots of implications.
That was important.
There.
That was important back then.
Right.
Amplifying everything else.
Yeah.
Oh, the cat's here.
Yeah. Thomas has decided to go a little beatdown.
Maybe splitting the difference.
Yeah.
A little cat, a little approach, little Baral beat down. A little bit of everything here, does David Thomas. Well, Glimmer of Genius is the response.
You know, maybe it gets traded off. You know, they have a counterspell for it. It's pretty unlikely that your opponent will have Fumigate in their deck. And
Pretty
if that's
unlikely,
if that's what you're concerned about, then sure.
Or Settle the Wreckage, any of that stuff. After sideboard, no way.
And I mean, you're getting in your points with Baral. They actually have to do something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, some fans of Hundrug at home. Apparently, yeah, the old Druglesworth.
Got a cult following.
Yeah. You're gonna be signing Hundrugs in no time, just so you know. You did this to yourself. Flores has transformed another treasure map. He's got more treasures for his treasure coves. So drawing cards here for Mike, not going to be a problem. It's actually going to be quite easy. Though I do wonder, much like you, if he does have something like Fumigate after sideboard. He'll play a Field of Ruin. He's tapping some mana for something. A lot of it, to be fair. Six. 7. Is it time to take an approach? All right.
And it looks like Flores with 2 negates in the chamber. And keep in mind that those, the treasure can also be sacrificed for mana.
Yes.
So he's got a lot of resources to fight this counter war.
Here's a disallow. I think Mike's ready to fight. All right, there's negate on disallow.
Well, Flores is, I mean, with the amount that Thomas has on the table, he's in the market for gain 7.
Oh, yeah.
But that's actually a real thing.
And approach is resolving. Does that mean a player is gaining 6+ life in a game? Quick check.
Yeah, I think so.
It appears that's the case, yeah.
I think
Bang!
I think you get it off the cats next turn anyway.
I don't care about the cats. I wanted it from the approach. Okay. I'm petty. I wanted it off the approach.
Getcha.
But that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 7. That's 7 stamps through 2 rounds, folks. It's good work, Nick. It's good work on the bingo card. Good work.
Yeah, I think it was time to maybe pump the brakes on how challenging they were from previous opens.
Well, you got to find the balance. You got to find the balance.
Don't want to be trivial.
Yeah.
But you also don't want, you know.
I'm happy to play in hard mode.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine playing in hard mode.
Summoner's Pact finds Hundrug. Yeah. Or whatever was on the board the last time that I covered one of these.
Players who signed up for the 2 p.m. Modern Challenge. Your pairings for round
All right,
1.
I think we got another cat here, folks. Yeah, Thomas has gone to a more aggressive approach. And these cats are getting a little bit larger. This is a pretty healthy attack. Got your +1s, you got your life links, you got everything else. But can Thomas actually like handle another approach? This battlefield looks great. I mean, this might be lethal next turn.
Yeah. So I'm trying to see here if between the Rivulet and his treasure coves, if Flores can manipulate it so he draws approach
Next turn.
Next turn.
If he just mills himself.
So it looks like he's sorting out like this is the line of play here. He doesn't have another turn just from the attackers.
No, not really. Flores will draw a card.
You can mill 4, peel off the Cove.
So right now, if I've got my math right, I think Flores cycled a card and then drew a card. So it should be
cycled the farmland, drew for his turn.
Yeah, so it should be 5 cards down now.
Mill 4 gets it to
the top card.
And then you have your Cove.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, sacrifice that one. But does he have enough mana left over still? I guess he's got treasures he can sacrifice.
Right, he's still got a lot of treasure.
But you know, he's got to maybe win like a small counter war too. I don't know if he has enough mana to do all
I
of
mean, Thomas could definitely mess this all up depending on what's in his hand.
Sure.
It's not deterministic that Flores has the game locked up, but I do believe he can manipulate things in such a way to draw approach this turn. And you know, I'm not trying to play another turn here. I think you're just dead on the table.
Oh, he's definitely dead.
Yeah,
he's definitely dead.
So you got to do it. Whether it's good enough remains to be seen.
All right, Supreme Will here from Flores. He's found a card that he likes. There's a land for turn. He's got access to 10 mana with the treasures. Well, here comes the approach, folks. Clear for takeoff. Dave Thomas, he has at least 1 counter spell. We're building a stack here, folks. He's got a disallow. Negate and disallow going to go after Flores. Now Flores, he's going to try to hammer back. The stack,
I just don't think he has enough mana to do everything here.
Well, the stack is approach, negate targeting that, negate fighting negate, disallow targeting negate. And now it looks like Dave has another counter spell, which means approach is not going to resolve past the turn back, unless David Thomas, for some reason, forgets to attack here, everybody. Which I'm going to give him a little bit of credit, given his SCG Tour resume. He's going to get the job done. So David Thomas is going to win this match over Michael Flores, 2-0. The blue-white approach mirror goes to your Texas native, and for David Thomas, it's a 2-0 start with blue-white approach.